Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon and have a good day, everyone. Ramadan Kareem. So today I am presenting a webinar on updating performa, especially on the student learning time. Yeah, Center for Academic Development or PPA. We from the decision from the meeting that this center will meet all the faculty members during this week. So we have our schedule quite tight this week. So we have 3 parallel sessions this afternoon. All right, so in my presentation, I have 3 contents that I will discuss, which are the issue, what are the preparation of the course coordinator or lecturer, and also about updating the performer. So here we are using the updating performer here because we are not going to construct a new performer, but we update the performer based on the current situation. Yeah. So what is the issue now? As we know that the movement control order now is already at phase 4. It's supposed to be ended by on the 12th of May. And however, 3 days ago, the university have received a letter from the Director General of the Higher Education Ministry to warn all the higher institution not to call back their students as soon as the MCO is lifted. With that statement, the face-to-face will not be continued. So that is the situation. So in this situation, we know that for the semester, the current semester that is running now, the A192 or M192 for masters, we have done only a few weeks. Okay, for undergraduate, we have only 5 weeks. Yeah, and we have another remaining 9 weeks to teaching and learning process. So in this situation, we understood that there will be no face-to-face. There will be no face-to-face in terms of physical face-to-face between between us and our students, and we have about 9 weeks remaining for us to plan or to do some updates in our plan for teaching and learning. And the third issue is there is no students in UPSI. Okay, in UPSI, there's no student in UPSI. As we know, at the moment, there are still few more students, in UPSI. But starting from today, UPSI students they are returning back to their hometown. All right. So no student in UPSI. And also, when the students go back to their hometown, there will be another issue coming. So we know that our students, they live in all over Malaysia. So there are some area where there is no internet coverage. So the issue the students are facing, when they go back, there might be no internet access. Then when having this diversity, then it comes to another issue, how the lecturer will manage this situation. How are they going to deliver effective teaching and learning session with diversity of students and situation? With that dilemma, what are the changes can be done in our teaching and learning, and what process that the lecturers should be following? And also, are the lecturers ready? And the last questions or the issue, are the students ready? So these are actually still issues, and inshallah in our planning, we want to overcome all these issues, to make our teaching and learning process successful. So what the course coordinator should prepare. So what to prepare? There are 2 things that the lecturer need to prepare. The first one, they need to have the student information. In this situation, the student information is very important because not one student is the same to another. They have very specific needs in this situation, and also about updating the performer. Okay, about the student information. I hope each one of you already been forwarded with the WhatsApp message of a survey to the students. The students have to fill up the survey for us actually to identify what are the information needed for us to make decision on how are we going to conduct the the teaching and learning. So all these lists, all the lists here, 4 points here, have been asked, okay, in the survey, and also specific location of the students also is being asked, yeah, because we try to negotiate with the KPT and maybe the telco, so that some assist can be done to that location. Yeah. So we do not know what is the what is the outcome of this, but we will try to identify specific location so that our students is reachable. Yeah. So the first one is internet accessibility. This information is important because if in that area, if the students cannot access the internet at that particular area, then whatever the lecturer send the students in terms of online information, even the WhatsApp also, or whatever, Telegram, anything that use internet, the students cannot receive it. Okay, so that is one thing. In the second one is about the internet speed. The internet speed varies. Yeah. So in the survey, we have provided a few choices for the students so that we know that which one is the most accurate speed for the students. And from there, we will identify the suitable approach, okay, for us as lecturer to deliver the teaching and learning. So there's a lot actually, yeah, for us to think about at the moment. But yeah, I think we have many ideas. But again, before we work out our ideas, we need to have all this information first. Then the third one is the students' preferences. Okay, so let's say when we want to use, or most of our students say they have internet access even at low speed. Yeah, if that condition happen, then we need to know some preferences of the students. For example, how long the students can or prefer to be in front of screen, okay, or in front of the monitor, because we know that in this situation, most of us, or even us ourselves, when we say working from home, we are actually working in front of the screen. Yeah, so how long is the students prefer to work in front of the screen for our course, or their preferable time? Yeah, so this is very important information, because if let's say we prepare the material or the video, something, or maybe we have a session, teleconferencing session with them, and we did for 2 hours. Whereas from at the moment, yeah, from the results that about this, I mean, around 1:30 this afternoon, about 8,900 students have filled up the form. Yeah, so, or the survey. So we hope that more are filling the survey so that we can get accurate, or we can get data, and the accuracy of doing our planning our teaching and learning can be done. Yeah, so if the data is very, or it's not enough, then it's very difficult to make decision. The result shows about, I can't remember, but majority of the students prefer 40 to 60 minutes in front of screen. So that is one thing, as a lecturer, we need to know that if we do that like 2 hours, then yeah, the students might just on the screen and then they just close or off their camera and they are in somewhere else. Yeah, so we don't want this to happen to our students. Yeah. Then is the students' diversities. This also is one thing that we need to know, whether they are in the maybe in a village, or maybe they are staying somewhere that is hilly, where they very difficult for them to get the signal, or maybe they live in town or in the city. Okay, so this is very important, because when we are planning the task, we can the task that we create for them is suitable, meaning that they are in that context. Yeah, if let's say we have something that we cannot find in the village, for example, then it's very difficult for the student to do the task. Yeah, so these are the things that we have to know. Then the changes in teaching and learning preparation. So what can be changed is about the second one is about constructive alignment, and another one is about SLT. So what can be changed? So I am referring to the email sent by the Quality Management Division last Monday, where in that email it quoted the result from the JKAPA meeting on 2nd of January 2019, stating that these are the changes that can be done in the Proforma. The first one is teaching and learning approaches. The second one is transferable skills. Teaching and learning approaches is the approach that we will use, whether we want to use online learning or whether we want to choose remote learning or other kind of approach, or maybe we want to do project based, task based. I mean, those that is suitable, or the teaching and learning approaches that can help the students to attain their course learning outcomes. Yeah, so that is very important. That's why we need to do some updating of our approach. Yeah, same goes to assessment. Yeah, we can change the assessment. For example, quiz, or we have tests where we plan for face-to-face test or quiz. But in this situation, maybe if the students cannot do the test in online because the line is terrible, we can do some other approach of still identifying how the student is coping with the cognitive level, because it is about quiz and also test. So we can have other options. But if our students, all of our students, they have internet, then maybe we can have like online tests. Yeah. Then the second one is about transferable skills. So maybe in this situation, when the students are at home, we want to have some changes in the transferable skills, but transferable skills in the Proforma is not measured. Yeah. Then the third one is course content. So any changes in the course content, because in this situation, we focus more on how to attain the course learning outcomes. Yeah. Furthermore, the MQA, Malaysian Qualification Agency, on the 29th of March have released, I think this is being circulated to the faculty, the way on how the university can run the process of teaching and learning, to manage the teaching and learning, and there are some flexibility in conducting our teaching and learning. For example, for the SLT that has been fixed or we have already planned for the students are allowed to have 70 to 80% of attainment of their CLO based on that SLT. Okay, meaning that 3 credit course, it is 120 hours, notional hours. So that is what we plan. But in certain situation where the students, maybe they live in remote places, they cannot get the internet, so they cannot join what their friends are doing. Yeah, so or maybe because of they have problem with money and so on. So we do not know some of the limitation from the student sides. The MQA have some flexibility here, where MQA has allowed 70 to 80% of a CLO attainment, meaning that if 120, the students, let's say one student, they can only attend our course, participate in our course about 90 hours only. That is a minimum requirement by the MQA. Yeah, unless it's involved professional body, but most of our program in UPSI, except accounting and counselling, they have to follow the professional body. How much percent of CLO attainment to fulfill the credit so that the student can be graduated. Yeah, so this is some flexibility given by the MQA. Next is about the SLT distribution, but CLO weightage maintained. Okay, so the SLT distribution can be changed. I will show how this SLT distribution can be changed. However, the CLO weightage is maintained. Yeah, we cannot change the CLO weightage because this is already been endorsed during the faculty or department meeting, or at the program level, the meeting to endorse our constructive alignment. So there we already endorse the CLO weightage. Number 5, the special requirement or resources to deliver the course. This depends because maybe in the in the university, in the campus, we have a special requirement or resources for the students to attain the CLO and for us as lecturer to deliver the course. For example, I was thinking about some resources maybe that we have in the lab. So during the students in the campus, they use all the resources in the lab. However, in this situation, we might need to identify what is in the student's area or in the student's house that they can use as their resources to make them understand the CLO based on our module or instruction. Yeah. Then number 6 is about the references. So we need to update the references. Maybe previously our references are books, yeah, but this time maybe we can look at the e-books. Okay, and each faculty we have library committee. Please ask the library committee to get the list of e-books from the library, and the library actually have a lot of e-books, so we might need to give this e-books list to our students. Yeah. Then other additional information. So these are the 7 components that can be changed in our proforma. Next, I move to constructive alignment issues. Okay, so constructive alignment based on BICS 2003, aligning the learning outcomes, teaching and learning and activities and assessment, aligning the teaching, aligning the learning outcomes may construct or can construct a good understanding of the students on what is being measured, and to ensure the process is being followed. Yeah, like for example, the learning outcomes, it should be followed by teaching and learning activities that support the learning outcomes, and the assessment as well that can support the teaching and learning. It is aligned, and also it also aligned to the learning outcomes so that the learning outcomes can be measured. This is a snapshot of the constructive alignment taken from IMS, where in this document we can see that we have the course learning outcome where this cannot be changed. Then we have LO weightage, also cannot be changed. We have already decided this in the meeting. All this cannot be changed, but starting from the teaching and learning activity, this column, we can make some updates, yeah, of this column, because we want to suit this with the student situation, with the students' needs, and also in the condition where we cannot meet the students. Same goes to the assignment. So the assignment details, what are the assignment details? So we list them here. Okay, the SLT is proportionate to the LO weightage. And can we change our SLT? The answer is yes. Okay, however, it should be proportionate to the LO weightage. And how much change that we are allowed to? Okay, we are only allowed to change only 3%, 3% of the SLT. Yeah, so 66, 3% of 66. Yeah, so it's about 2 hours. So this is the same. And this one, assessment method. Okay, assessment method, we can change the final examination. Okay, others we might also change. It depends. But if it can be done in a remote situation, then we can just maintain it. But for the issue is about the final examination. In the last JKPA, the special JKPA held on Monday, this Monday, we came up with the consensus that the final examination is being replaced by the final assessment. Okay, so the final examination is replaced with final assessment. However, let's say if the lecturer want to use or to do the continuous assessment, it is not wrong. However, there are some consequences that the lecturers need to do. Yeah. Okay. Final examination, we know it should be summative. So final assessment also summative, meaning that there is no facilitation to the students and there's no feedback. Okay. So when the students submit, that's it. We just give mark. However, if a lecturer want to change the final assessment to the continuous assessment, so the lecturer, of course, the first thing is to get the decision being endorsed, yeah, until at the Senate level, because the form of final exam and everything is being endorsed in Senate previously. So meaning that if you want to change in this semester because of this COVID-19, you need to make this paper to be endorsed in terms of your assessment method, especially if you want to change your final examination to continuous assessment. Okay, let's say you got the approval from Senate, then you want to implement. So when you are implementing the continuous assessment, what you need to do is you need to record all your facilitation process, because we know that it is continuous, and from final examination we change to continuous assessment. Again, my question, if want to do the continuous assessment, are we ready to have that portfolio for facilitating our students? Let's say we have 100 of students, each one of them should have record, because like final exam we have 100, if 100 students, then we have 100 answer script. Yeah, so can we do that portfolio for 100 students? If we manage to do that, then maybe we can consider to change our final examination to continuous assessment. Okay, practical report, presentation. So each one of these has their own percentage and it shouldn't be changed. Yeah, it is advisable not to change, but final examination can be changed to other type of final assessment. So I'm using here final assessment rather than final examination. So if there are changes in the constructive alignment, then please, the PPA will open the system where the lecturer can update the latest information about how their CA would be. Yeah? So about the weightage just now, the weightage must be, the CLO weightage here must proportionate with CLO, teaching and learning activities or assignment, and the importance of the content to attain the CLO. So assessment includes continuous assessment with grades. Okay, so assignment, quiz, test, mid-sem test, and final examination. Or if you want to change, maybe final assessment. Yeah. So the weightage of the course must be approved by the academic committee. Okay, so the change, the weightage is being approved in the early weeks of this semester. Yeah, so the weightage is maintained. So there's no change for the CLO weightage. Next, we move to the student learning time, the one that we want to do. Of course, we want to calculate for our pro forma. Okay, when we are calculating our student learning time, there are a few components of few factors or categories that we have to look into. The first one is face-to-face, non-face-to-face, self-learning, assessment, and preparation. Yeah, so these are those factors or components that is being calculated to calculate the students' SLT. Okay, so talking about SLT, I would like to refer to this guideline from MQA. When they have lecture, 1 hour here, lecture, so the preparation time, this is just guideline. As a lecturer, we know better which content has more time, need more time, or maybe which content need less time. Yeah. So the in terms of lecture, the implementation time is 1 hour. So the preparation time is 1 to 2 hours. And for an average student, when we are preparing the time, diploma is 1 to 1, meaning that 1 hour implementation, 1 hour preparation. For bachelor, the guideline is 1 hour implementation, 2 hours preparation, and masters 1 to 3, yeah, the ratio. So again, this is guidelines. It depends on the lecturer. You know how depth, yeah, or how complex your topics would be. Meaning that it's not throughout the course you have like 1 to 2 or 1 to 3, but maybe in certain topics, maybe 1 to 1, maybe certain topics 1 to 3. It depends on how complex or how deep, how lengthy, yeah, the content would be. Okay, and this lecture, okay, this formula or this situation, you can use this to calculate your synchronous session. Okay, do you familiar with what is synchronous session? Okay, I will explain later on about the synchronous, but in this condition, I'll tell you synchronous is real time. Okay, real time meaning that, for example, what we are having now, we are having teleconferencing and we are at the real time, so it is synchronous. Okay, another one that I try to highlight here is the e-learning. Okay, so when we see here, in terms of implementation time, there's no activity there. But even though when we see implementation time, there's no activity there, but in terms of additional time, there should be. All right, this happen when we have pre-record our sessions. Yeah, so the sessions is pre-recorded, and we provide the video to our students. So there is no face-to-face in that situation because the students are seeing the video of us. Okay, so the 3 hours is recommended for one session. Yeah, so in UPSI, as the poster that has been shared before, 1 hour, the record should be around 7 minutes or the most 10 minutes, yeah, for us to provide the video to our students. But again, when we want to do the video, it's not just like videotaping ourselves, but that 7 minutes should follow the instructional design, where we need to have our introduction and then the specific content that you want to highlight, and then the students might, after 3 minutes of the video running, then the students stop and do the questions that we have asked them to do, and maybe about 30 minutes. Then after 30 minutes, then they resume the video, watch the video for 3 minutes, and they stop. Then maybe answering the reflection, yeah, for maybe, and do activities for 30 minutes, doing the reflection. So that is the cycle for about 7 to 10 minutes video, but the students have to do it for 1 hour. Yeah. So how to update the proforma? Okay, so in updating the proforma, I have here one is before and one is after. Okay, so before we see here that they have lectures, and the students have lectures and also have practical. Okay, in this situation, lectures cannot be done and also practical also cannot be done. So what happened? For example, I have decided to have online learning, but I want to do it asynchronous, meaning that there's no real-time interaction. So as you can see here, these 4 hours, it is not just all the lectures, because I have also the practical here. So meaning that I provide the students with the video so that this can replace their lab activity. So there are some skills or some important information that the students need to have, okay, so that it can contribute to attain the CLO. Okay, so all the red oblong is not circle, are the changes between the old one and the new one, or the proposed, yeah, because I this is just a dummy, because I also haven't get information from my students, so this is a dummy. Yeah. Okay, so this is asynchronous session, and on week 7, as you can see, my proforma start from week 6. Why week 6? Because the first 5 weeks we have done. Okay, we have done before the MCO. So now we have another 9 weeks remaining, starting from week 6. So in week 6, as you can see here, we start on this topic, and then week 7, suddenly you can see, okay, under the F2F others, there's 2 hours here. So this is for synchronous session. Okay, synchronous session, 2 hours. Here is 2 different sessions, 1 hour and 1 hour. And as I have shared just now, for synchronous, for 2 hours, I can times 2, 2 times 2, because the students' preparation for undergraduate is 1 to 2, the ratio, yeah, for their preparation. So I have 4 hours here, plus another 5 hours for the students to understand the video about the practical stuff. Yeah. So this is how I plan for the practical and as well as the synchronous, and this one is asynchronous. Okay. The rest, I mean, they have the same. If this one is asynchronous, this one is synchronous, but the most I plan for asynchronous. Okay, if we look at the total of SLT here, only 1 hour different. So it's still within the 37%. Sorry, between 3%. Okay, how about the assessment? Assessment here, if we can see here, one hour for face-to-face. Now I plan for 2 hours, so the face-to-face I bring into the non-face-to-face. Same goes for the quiz, and for final exam, there's no final exam. Replace with a special project. So the non face-to-face is 6 hours. And finally, I get the same SLT, 120. So basically, that are a few within that 3 slides. These are the changes that we will have or we need to do in our SLT. And the changes is not too much, it's minimum changes, and most of the changes will be on the approach of delivery and maybe the SLT as well. Depends on how we update our performer. So before I end my presentation, I would like to share about some documents from PPA. So I hope that most of you already seen this poster where we have sent the email containing this poster about the blended learning about last year we sent it. Okay, so in order for us to get the status blended learning yes 100%, we need to have one materials on information of the course, one. Then these carry about 5%. Then we need to have 7 materials, carries about 40%. And activities, 3 activities, 35%. And assessment, 20%. Yeah, 2 assessment, 20%. So this is the blended learning, and most of the faculty almost reach 100% now because when you fulfill this 1732. However, last Monday also, or no, the previous JKPA also, a paperwork from PPA about the blended learning substitution, meaning that substitution of face-to-face by online has been approved. However, we plan or we propose the implementation not now, but the implementation will be on the next semester, A201. However, before we implement, of course, we will have a town hall for that, for lecturers to understand, but it is not compulsory. But a few courses in the program or will implement the substitution, the blended learning substitution, and it is being monitored. Yeah? But during this COVID-19 pandemic, if you were to apply the blended learning substitution, you feel free to do so, and there is a guideline for that so that you can follow. So it is not compulsory for now. Besides this, I want to show about the e-learning. I hope that most of you already have this poster where we email to all lecturers on the first week of MCO on phase 1. So the e-learning can be divided into synchronous and asynchronous. So as you can see, synchronous is follow the current timetable and based on pro forma. And there are 6 factors or steps that each lecturer will follow if you want to do synchronous. The first one is you need to identify the platform. So I will discuss about what kind of platform that you will be choosing. Inform the students about the e-learning activities. So the information should be communicated. Then we need to alert the students about the attendance. This is very important, as we can see that for online, is difficult it is different from face-to-face, where we cannot make it compulsory for the students, because sometimes the issue is not because the students don't want to attend our teleconference, but sometimes it's due to the internet connection sometimes. So number 3 is stating the learning outcomes. Number 4, the e-learning activities. Number 5, the assessment. And finally, as a lecturer, we need to do the reflection, especially in this situation where we need to keep on reflecting so that we can improve every time, because we are not used to it. Okay, not meaning that we are not doing our e-learning before, but this situation is different, where we know that the students, if we want to do blended learning, last time the students are in the campus, they have the internet access, but this time they are scattered, yeah, they are everywhere, and we need to consider all those things, yeah. So what can be done differently, or how can be done effectively? So these are the things that we need to reflect. Okay, so next is asynchronous. It is at any time, but all teaching and learning activities should be planned by weekly basis. So all steps in synchronous here should be followed on top here. Then all materials are pre-recorded and shared in the platform. So here we propose the MyGuru as the formal platform of our university, but you can use other e-learning platform. The video materials that we want to provide, it should be not more than 25 megabyte, megabyte, so that the students can easily download the file. So you can also put your videos, share your videos in YouTube or Google Drive and other platforms. And finally, in this green box, we can see there about the 7 minutes, the preparation of 7 minutes of the video should be followed. Yeah. And about the e-learning tools, when you want to develop the content, digital content, there are a few tools that you can use. For example, if you want to do the screen recording, you can use QuickTime, Jing, and Screencast-O-Matic. Screencast-O-Matic is among the famous or popular option, yeah. And then doing infographic, you want to use Canva, PictoChart, and so on. Animation 2D, like Powtoon, Bytable, Doodly, and animation 3D, for example, Protagon, Reality Composer, and so on. Video recording using Filmora or iMovie, for example, audio recording, podcast, music composing, GarageBand, Audacity, and then the slide, the PowerPoint, Prezi, and Flipbook. So these are the learning tools. Yeah. Then the platform or classroom, we can have MyGuru. MyGuru actually it has the characteristic of what other platforms have. Besides, also it is in the universities. It is being monitored by our ICT. So meaning that issues that have been highlighted by other universities, saying about the security of their data can be, the risk is lower, because it is being owned by our own university. And then Google Classroom and MS Teams. What we have now in UPSI, we have MyGuru, we have Google Classroom, and we have Microsoft Teams. So please choose the one that you familiarize more, and please fully utilize what we have. Okay, so next is the online quiz, MyGuru, Kahoot, Quizlet, Mentimeter, Edpuzzle, and so on. And forum, you can use MyGuru as well, BlendSpace, Discourse, and so on. Okay, synchronous, asynchronous, what are the platform? You can use Google Hangout Meet for synchronous, YouTube Live, FB Live, Zoom, Webex, and so on. Asynchronous, for example, just like I mentioned about the Screen-O-Matic, iMovie, Vimeo, Flickr, and so on. So this, it might be a tool to record as well as a platform for you to upload. Yeah. So this is about the slide that we have shared during the first week of MCO. And early this week on Monday, PPA have emailed to all the lecturers about this poster. Yeah, it's about remote teaching and learning strategies. Yeah, where we propose based on the 5 scenario analysis. Before we discuss further, what is remote learning? Yeah, so remote learning is an approach of teaching and learning where the face-to-face cannot be conducted. So any kind of approach without face-to-face. Yeah, so that is remote learning. So when we say remote learning, is including the online learning plus the one that cannot be reached For example, someone or any students that live in a very remote place, so these students, they do not have online, so we need to post them, yeah, our information or our material. For example, here, without device, maybe they went back, or maybe the students do not have money, so they went back without any devices. So how are we going to make sure that these students is not being left behind? Yeah, because the Ministry of Higher Education reminded us, when we are conducting our teaching and learning in this situation, in COVID-19 pandemic condition, we have to ensure that no one left behind. Yeah. So this one is without device. The second one is with device. Okay, and starting from number 3 to 5, all these, they all have internet, but they have different bandwidth, yeah, of internet. Okay, so like for example, um, okay, I show here like without device here, maybe how are we going to handle these students? Maybe we have to print our material and then send them, or maybe textbook, give them module, and then maybe giving manual and so on. But those with device, for example, they have laptop or they have a computer, maybe we can send them soft copy, okay, in terms of pen drive or CD, for example. But CD, we know nowadays most of the computer does not have CD, so we need to think, yeah, whether the students can use that or not. Then maybe we can think of SMS, and then give them the e-books, e-modules, so that they can download in their computer. So delivery, SMS, direct call, okay, we can call them. Assessment, okay, the first one, number one, should be all printed, okay, and maybe the portfolio, when they post it, they have to, they can have the portfolio, but for the one that have device, maybe they can just send us the soft copy of the test. Okay, regarding those that have internet access, these are the three conditions that we have to pay attention, because we cannot entertain them all as same, yeah, because the high speed, they can easily do the video conferencing, but not to the moderate and low band. Yeah, if the low bandwidth, maybe email, podcast, those that do not have many, or request many data, can be used. Yeah, for example, WhatsApp, Telegram. Moderate, then yeah, my guru will be one of the choice. But high speed, then we can have the video conferencing. Yeah, you can go through this poster. Yeah, so you can just browse, or maybe check in your internet on Monday, in your email on Monday, PPA have sent you. Okay, so next is, I think this document is in Malay. It's about timeline, yeah, timeline of teaching and learning management. Okay, during this COVID-19, or before we start before we resume our semester. All right, so we will resume our semester on the week 6, or equal on the 3rd of June. If we work backwards, this is the week, yeah, week -5 is where we are now. So we have webinar at the moment to share about what is needed in updating the proforma. Then the survey to the students also is running now, as I said just now. Then when after attending this, you can start now do the changes, or to suit, okay, the needs of the teaching and learning. And next week, okay, the department may have the meeting to endorse the changes. Then the same time also, next week, all the changes in constructive alignment can be done in MySys. And also, you can start doing your teaching and learning preparation, whether you want to have it synchronous or asynchronous, or maybe those, okay, because tonight the survey, we will end the survey tonight. So, so by tomorrow, you can get the results. I mean, the faculty can get the result and start distributing to the lecturers. So you need to, or you can identify what is the need of the students, and next week you can already start to do your preparation to prepare your materials for teaching and learning. And 2 weeks before the semester starts, the faculty can have their own webinar to discuss about the implementation of teaching and learning in the when the semester resumes. And for the students, IPS and BHEA will do that for them. Yeah, in terms of student, I mean, in terms of the general situation, maybe they have a pre-recorded session for the students. And number 18, this is about posting the materials. Okay, so 2 weeks before the semester starts, the all the materials should be sent to the faculty. The faculty will collect it, all the materials, and then get them posted to the students. Then week 19, monitoring of the blended learning, and number 20 here is monitoring all the materials upload for each topic. Yeah, so this is to ensure that no one left behind and all the materials are accessible. So we use our former platform, which is My Guru, to at least have, if let's say you want to have to use other platform, because maybe we are familiar with other platform, we have the platform, and the students can use this information from other platform when we link. For example, we have YouTube, we link it of the YouTube in the My Guru. Okay, so the students can get it. Okay, and then number 21. So this is for the students, for them to confirm that they are already in this semester, they want to continue the semester. And then again, the blended learning monitoring on week 8. This one, as usual, the lecturer do the week 8 monitoring, and then the head of department will do the monitoring of week 8 monitoring, the monitoring of week 8 monitoring or week 8 report. So in this situation, the head of department will identify what are the lecturers need. Yeah, for example, especially are there any other trainings that the lecturer need to attend? Because in week 8, when the lecturer do the week 8 monitoring report, yeah, here, you may report on how is there any challenges in this situation on handling the students to attain the CLO, any difficulties, and then your suggestion. So the head of department will analyze it and maybe propose, okay, what is or what are interventions can be done, okay, to help the lecturers as well as the students later on. Then the vetting process happen after the lecturers do the week 8 monitoring, because we want the lecturers to understand the situation. Okay, then only they create the questions to the students, because we know this is really something is different from what we are doing previously. So we give chance to the lecturer. Normally week 6, everything is done. We already have the vetting on week 6. Yeah, normally week 5 we already started, but we are proposing week 8 or 9, 9 to have this. And then from the needs that the head of department identified, yeah, for example, what are the needs by the lecturer, then we will have another webinar to support the lecturers, for example, some skills that the lecturer needs. Then for the students, they have a pre-registration for the next semester. Then the students will fill out the learning evaluation form, and again the learning evaluation form have some changes this time because our delivery have some change as well. Then we need to give the students the coursework marks, and then here we key in the e-marks, and then the final before end of semester, again the monitoring of blended learning. And week 15, meaning here during the exam week only, there are dissemination of or distribution of the final assessment questions, yeah, only on week 15 and week 16. So we are not providing the students earlier about their tasks. And after that period, if we get back all the tasks assignment from the students, if the course have more than one moderator, the examiner, then there should be a moderation, the process that we have always have, and then marking the script, and then the mark vetting, and then we have the CLOM, we have to fill up the CLOM, and finally the CQI, continuous quality improvement of the CLOM. So basically, this is the journey of all of us until the end of the semester. Okay, so I think that's all my presentation, and now I open for Q&A. Yeah, if there is any question or any suggestion. Thank you.